interface contains definitions for a group of related functionalities that a class can implement. An interface in C# contains only the definition of the methods, properties and events, but not the implementation. That means not the body of the method or properties or events. And it is left to the class that implements or inherits the interface by providing implementation for all the members of the interface. From another perspective, interface could be viewed as a blueprint that all the classes inheriting or implementing the interface should follow. Okay, let's go back to the code. So here I have made a C# .NET Framework console application, and I have created two interfaces named iAccount, which has got a single method which returns nothing and takes nothing, and it's named bank account. And look at this, it just contains the definition or the declaration, no body and no implementation, and implementation will be left to the classes which implements this interface. And there is another interface iCredited, which has got a method amount credited, which takes an integer and returns nothing, void. All right, so here I have created a class checkAccount that it derives or implements these two methods, these two interfaces. So iAccount comma iCredited. Right, so these two, at the moment you get the squiggly lines because it says that the check account doesn't implement interface member iAccount.bank account, or it doesn't implement the interface member iCredited and amount credited. So we have to implement both these methods. So start writing code, public void. So what is the signature? Bank account, public void. I have got this on my clipboard, so I'll get back to where I started from. Public void, copy this, bank account. Now it doesn't return anything, so I can just put I will just put a console.writeLine statement. Console that says I am the, let's say I am the checking account. You could write anything within the console.writeLine, and there is another interface that I am implementing. So look, this squiggly line is gone. That means this is happy with this implementation of its member bank account. And the next one will be public void amount credited. So amount I'll just copy from here, copy the entire definition just to save some time typing. And then now this is already, the squiggly line is gone because it is actually implementing this amount credited method because it doesn't return anything. And in this line I can write let's say an amount of X dollars has been transferred to your account. So how do we write that? Within double quotes, an amount of dollar. Just bear with me for a minute, I will explain. Transferred to the account. and then followed by comma here, and then this input parameter, and terminated by a semicolon. Right, so this is the placeholder. Actually it takes at the 0th index this variable amount. Right, and then I can just do anything. I can just write another method, savings, which belongs to this check account class exclusively, and it is not implementing any interface from any interface methods, so to say. So console.writeLine, I am the savings account. Right, let's build it. Control Shift B hotkey. Yeah, build succeeded. Now comes the program class, or it's a test class. So by default, when you create the console application, it creates a static void main. It creates a stub of a test class, static void main string array args. So this is actually, it's not needed for our present application, but is because I am not inputting anything from the command prompt. So I can write straight away, like I can create an instance of this class, check account class. So check account, say ch, initializing an instance of this class, new check account, and once it is done, you can just use this instance to expose the methods. So ch.bankAccount, you can call the method, and then ch.savings, which was exclusive to the class, and then ch.amount created, and it is asking for an amount which is an integer number. So let's give 20, and let's see the fun. Control F5 to run the application, and you have got, I am the checking account, I am the savings account, an amount of $20 transferred to the account. That's the output of this application. Right, so it is implementing the two interfaces, iAccount and iCredited. When we just analyze the code, foregoing code in Visual Studio, we find out a few things. Firstly, the class can inherit from multiple or more than one interface, which is a way of executing multiple inheritance, because a class can inherit more than one interfaces, but a class can only inherit from any one class, not more than single class. So this is another way of doing multiple inheritance. The implementing classes for the interfaces must implement the method or define the method body whose signature is defined in the interface. The implementing classes can have its own methods as well, which we have seen in the code, as well as implementing the interface methods. The other features of the interface which weren't brought to light in this small project is that, like classes, interfaces can also contain properties, methods, events, and delegates, but they can contain no fields, with only declaration and no implementation. And by default, interface members are public, so they don't allow explicit access modifiers. So even if you get rid of, drop the public keyword from interface or their members, they are still, by default, they are public. And when a class implements from an interface or inherits an interface, it must provide implementation for all interface members. We get a compile error otherwise, which we have already seen in the project. Interfaces can also inherit from other interfaces. A class inheriting or implementing this interface is required to implement all the members of the entire interface inheritance chain. So supposing a class inherits from two interfaces, and one of the interfaces inherits from three other interfaces, so this class must fully implement the members of all of the interfaces in the interface inheritance chain. So it cannot drop one of the implementations and still get away with it. No. An interface reference variable can point to a derived class object. However, the interfaces cannot be instantiated. This is an important point which we'll see in one of the next lectures. So